Do you enjoy cooking? I mean, obviously you wrote a cookbook.
Oh, I love cooking.
What's your favorite dish to cook, or what's your most popular dish? Like, what do they demand at Thanksgiving? I must have this dish by you.
You know what I just made, which was like a huge hit? I just made saffron mashed potatoes with sauteed wild mushrooms and what kind of oil? A truffle oil. And like, that flew out the door. People went bonkers for that. You know, I find that cooking is like, it's like a very unifying thing. It's like if you're in the kitchen cooking and you're feeding somebody, it's kind of like if somebody likes your kid, like invariably you can't help but like them. If someone's feeding you, you can't help but develop some feelings for them. And for me, the book is about creating connection, creating connection through feeding people and entertaining. So I've been cooking since I was about 13.
Okay, I can't help. I have to get creative here, Laura. What meal would the character Deacon whip up to get
that guy needs to read my book big time, because Deacon definitely could benefit from being more of a gentleman.
That's a good one.
He is to win it as a player.
Good one.
The modern bad boy. But have you ever done anything on the soaps where you're cooking and entertaining? Has that ever been used as part of your character?
No, I haven't. You know, I think who I am as a person is so different than who I play on TV.
Okay.
But I think definitely I would recommend my book for Deacon. He would benefit by it.
You're saying Deacon.
Yeah, Deacon is definitely not a gentleman. Although the guy has like an interesting. He has a weird code of honor. I mean, it's like he does a lot of things that are really bad, but in a weird way, he's got kind of like this strange code of ethics, which I don't really understand it. But like, he's not a through and through bad guy, which I think that's what's interesting.
So how do you define or describe a modern day gentleman?
Yeah, where did you come up with this idea? How do you put this together with cooking?
You know, here's the deal. I think a lot of guys, like me, were raised primarily by our mothers. You know, Dad was off working, right? Mm-hmm. And so I learned to, you know, stand up for a lady when she comes in the room and open a door and da-da-da. And what happens is, flash forward like 20, 30 years later, and a lot of women are like, I don't need you to open a door for me. I don't need you to. And so guys are going, wait a second, that's what I learned, and I thought that was right. And now it's like, I'm a jerk because I'm doing what I was taught. And so guys are walking around going, am I supposed to be the alpha male who is like a problem solver, or am I supposed to be you know, the sensitive, understanding, like vulnerable, at ease with my feelings guy? And guys are walking around kind of confused. And the reality is you're supposed to be a little bit of both, right? And so, you know, all of my female friends are like, how come every guy I like, you know, I only like the bad boys? And every guy is like, how come, you know, every girl I like, you know, like wants to be my friend? And the advice I give in the book is like, nobody wants to date their brother. Okay? You can be a bad boy, and you can be all that stuff and still be a gentleman.
Exactly.
You know, I think that, you know, the book is about. There's a chapter in it called the modern gentleman is a nice guy, but not a nice guy. You know what I mean? It's like not getting slammed in that friend box. Because I hear a lot of guys always say, well, I don't understand, you know, I'm being such a nice guy. And I'm like, listen, man, you're deluding yourself, because that's code for, you know, guys go, oh, I'm being respectful. Well, no, what you're being is kind of a pussy. So, you know, and a lot of guys, like, delude themselves, and they think that, you know, they have to behave a certain way and be like a nice guy. And I don't think that's what women want. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, God knows I've made enough mistakes with women. But I think at the end of the day, you know, they want to know that, you know, you can be the bad boy, but also be respectful and, you know, be a good human being. You don't got to be a player.
Okay.
And if you're a player, like, you save it for your woman, you know, in the bedroom. But it's not about how you act out in public. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, with your cookbook, Sean, I have to label you a romantic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Please.
Thank you.
I know you probably put your book to the test with your fiance. Mm-hmm. Describe to us a romantic meal that you created with for your fiance.
To win her over.
Yes,
I know you had to do that to win her over.
Make me swoon, okay?
You know, one of the things I say in the book is not about trying to impress anybody. Okay. It's about being impressive.
Yes.
And if that results in you impressing somebody, that's great. But it's not about doing things for effect. It's not about trying to get a result. And you know, for better or for worse, I have to hand it to myself with this respect, that I'm the same guy that I was before I was on TV. I'm not a different guy when I'm trying to, you know, get a woman in. My girlfriend, my fiance, I think she fell in love with me because, you know, what you see is what you get. And as far as what kind of meal would I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, Chinese food in bed. You know? But if I am actually going to cook, I love Mid-Eastern food. I love to do, like, sort of couscous with roasted vegetables and grilled lamb chops with mint. And, you know, and I'm a big fan of, you know, setting the whole mood. So, like, I like to put a playlist together, you know, get some really sexy music going on, and just see where things go.
Now, you know, I looked at.
You two, I got you guys in my bedroom, and I've only known you like.
Now, how do you? I looked at some of your recipes. A lot of your recipes seem to be like carb friendly. Are you at all concerned with your diet, weight, and health and nutrition when you?
I mean, I am. I mean, I'm not like I'm not psychotic. You know what I mean? I mean, believe me. You know, I woke up this morning before I talked to you guys, and we had some leftover mashed potatoes from Thanksgiving, and I was like on that like a cheap suit. So, yeah, but you know, I think you have to enjoy life, right?
Yeah, but you also have to keep your good looks.
That's right. How you maintain?
How you maintain it? What's your secret? Yes.
A lot of Botox. A lot of Botox. No. You know, I mean, I go to the gym and I you know, I work out and I play hard, but I work hard. You know.
Okay.
And eat well.
You know, I'm conscientious about what I eat.
Okay. But like you said, how you was raised up to be a gentleman. Women was raised up to get a man. They say to win a man over, to get to their hearts through their stomach.
But listen to what you just said, though. You said win a man over. And you know what I tell my little girl? I said, listen, do you want to find a guy because you love him and want to be with him, or do you want to find a guy because you need a man to take care of you? And I said, if you find a guy to take care of you, subconsciously you're going to be a little resentful because you know you need him as opposed to want him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I tell my daughter, I say, listen, you know what? Earn your own money. Be your own woman. I said, nothing is sexier than independence. And I said, look, I've been with the most beautiful women in the world. I've traveled the world. I know a little about what I'm talking about. And the thing I love about my fiance is she's with me not because she needs to be with me, because she chooses to be with me.
Right.
And she is a stunningly independent, intelligent woman. And I mean, she's the kind of woman that, you know, you see her and you're like, wow, even if that wasn't my girl, I'd want to be friends with her. I'd want to know that woman. Wow. You know, and so I feel really fortunate about that, and that's what I try and instill in my daughter and my stepdaughters.
Wow, it's beautiful. So your book is not just about cooking; it's about how to treat a woman.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And you know what? It's not about like an end result. It's not about, hey, read this book and you know you can get women in bed. Right. It's not about that.
Right.
You know, it's not a means to an end. It's like making yourself the best human being that you can be. And consequently, probably a lot of women will want to go to bed with you, but it's not about that.
What's been the reaction to your book? How has it been received? You mentioned that it's in Bed Bath and Beyond, or possibly, or how's it been selling? Have you been going around promoting it? What's going on with that? How long has it been out? When did you publish it?
I don't have it. The book sold out in 2 weeks at Amazon.
Wow, it's a really good book.
We just got into Bed Bath & Beyond. We're working on getting in Target. Michelle, my fiance, is the brand manager for the book, and she is unbelievable. I mean, this book would not have even happened without her. She did all the photos in the book, and I mean, she's my driving force. And the reaction has been really good. I mean, if you go on Amazon and you read some of the comments, women love the book. I think they think it's kind of like a front row seat to, the male psyche, the theater of the male psyche, like understanding how guys think. And I think, guys really like it because there's a whole skill set that women wish guys had, and they get ticked off that guys don't know how to do certain things. And the problem is, like, no one's taught guys how to do these things. Women have always had Oprah and Martha Stewart, and do you know what I mean? And guys have never had that. And yet women are like, how come you don't know how to, I don't know, I'm going to go put my makeup on. Can you, like, get the house ready for a company? And, like, that doesn't mean basically turning the TV off.
Right.
Like, knowing what to do. But guys have never been taught that stuff.
Exactly.
And I don't know how I learned it, but somehow I did. And, I want to help my fellow brothers out there.
Thank you so much. They need a lot of help. Again, Christmas is coming up. What would you advise out of your book? What would be the perfect Christmas dinner?
Ooh, my perfect Christmas dinner. I'm a big fan of ham. Do you guys like ham at all?
Yeah.
I would rather have ham than turkey any day of the week. Probably what I would do for Christmas dinner is I would start with some caviar. I'm a big fan of like little blinis with caviar with some, minced egg and onions and capers and all that, and a nice bottle of Bollinger champagne. And then I would say probably, I love pasta. I have a dish that I created when I lived in Italy. I was doing Dancing with the Stars in Italy, and I came up with this dish called pasta putanese. It's half bolognese and half puttanesca, and it's like a rich meat sauce. It's really great for the winter months.
Okay.
I would do that, and then probably for dessert, I have a chocolate cake that's in my book.
Okay.
And it's who doesn't love chocolate cake?
Everybody loves chocolate.
Everyone, and if they say they don't love chocolate, they're lying.
Once you go chocolate, you never go back. That's
right.
Yes. But I know what would be the perfect Christmas gift. This book.
My book?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are great. Thank you. Yeah, you know what? I have to tell you, it's not like, it's not about selling the book. It's like I actually think that the book can help some people out.
Yeah.
I really do. And it's like I say in the book, I go, the last thing anybody needs is another like book full of recipes by a soap star. I said that's not what this is. This book is really about helping you become the best person
you can be. Yes.
Now, you study political science. You always wanted to be an actor. Where does the cooking and you mentioned earlier that you've been cooking since age 14?
I really started cooking when I was going to college. I didn't have enough money to take girls out for fancy dinners, and I figured if I could provide them with a home-cooked meal, I could maybe give them something that, like, they probably missed, and it worked out real well. Yeah.
Now, on page 114, this recipe, braised red cabbage. That looks really good. Is that really good?
Oh, yeah. I'm a big fan of that. Braised cabbage. It's so easy to make. I mean, basically all you do is you chop your cabbage up, you throw some olive oil in, you saute it, and then, you can get creative. You can throw some sour cream in it. You can throw some turkey sausage, whatever you want. It stays good for like 3 or 4 days.
Wow.
Cabbage is it's a blood cleaner. It's really good for, health-wise.
Okay.
I think it tastes really delicious. I throw a little balsamic vinegar in it and let it reduce, so it gives it like a nice sort of pleasant acidic taste, and it goes with any dish. You can just like do a chicken breast and some cabbage, and you look fancy. Because it's purple, it's pretty.
And on page 84, I love the way you did the setting of the table. Beautiful.
Do you guys want to hear what we did for that? My girlfriend did all the photos.
Oh,
And so we snuck into a Bed Bath & Beyond, and we told him we were getting married and asked him if we could, like, set the table.
Wow, that's smart.
So we set the table, took the picture.
Wow. Wow.
Guerrilla bookmaking.
Right? Totally.
Smart. You're ingenious, too. Okay, what?
Any upcoming books? You mentioned a film. Talk about what you see coming up.
I actually, I did a film about 6 months ago. It's called My Trip Back to the Dark Side. It'll probably be coming out in about 6 months, and I play a real bad guy. I'm all tatted up and earrings and all that sort of stuff.
Wow.
And it was a lot of fun doing that. And I'm actually working on my next book, which is going to be called The Modern Gentleman's Guide to Life, and it's going to be
Part 2.
my version of a guide to life, you know. You know, I got my hands pretty full right now. I got a lot of stuff going. Not to mention, you know, I was off the show Young and the Restless for a while, and I start airing on November 30th, and I'll be very heavy in the rotation. I've probably done like 25 shows, and they're all going to start airing November 30th. So I hope everyone will watch.
Of course, we'll be there. Yes. Wow.
Well, thank you, Sean.
Thank
You guys, thank you so much for having me. It was just like chatting with friends, you know. It was like just like hanging out with you guys.
And thank you for inviting us into your bedroom.
I wish you guys.
Yes, you better get bedroom.
All right, you guys, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, we're back. Before we close, we want to thank Sean Kanan once again for coming on Let's Talk About Soaps.
Yes, we want to thank him for sharing his book, The Modern Gentleman, Cooking and Entertaining with Sean Kanan. He was a lot of fun, don't you agree?
Yes, so down to earth.
Yes, very down.
We would love to have him come back again.
Yes.
And also, like I said, it's the perfect Christmas gift. You will love this book. Anybody, everybody you know, get this book for Christmas for them. They will love it.
And if you're a soap fan, you heard Sean Kanan saying that The Young and the Restless is going to be back for another couple of years. Mm-hmm. The fate of General Hospital is not so bright, and several soaps have been canceled of recent. So if you want Sean Kanan, Deacon Sharpe from Young and Restless to stay around, and all your other beloved characters, you've got to come together. Now, there is a Facebook page for Let's Talk About Soaps where you can actually sign petitions to ABC and Disney to bring back the soaps the way.
Also the YouTube links too.
Yes, the YouTube links. So, you know, stand up for what's important to you. You know, okay.
You love your soaps?
Yes, if you love your soaps.
Come on, be heard.
Yes, make a stand. You know, this is what you want to see. You have to let Disney, ABC know. You know, you make your voice heard.
That's right. It took away all my children. We're going to fight back to get them back on the air, daytime TV. We don't want no internet soaps. No, it's not going to happen. They made our hearts bleed, but we're going to fight back. We're going to come together and do what's right to get our soaps back on the air. So you hear what we say? Come, soap fans. Let's come together. Let's fight. All right? So that's it. We love you. See you again on Let's Talk About Soaps. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Hey, let's talk about soap. Hey, let's talk about soap. Hey, let's talk about soap. Let's talk about the drama, stabbing, the stealing, the killing, romance, the love making, and baby taking. Let's talk about the lying, screaming, and everyone's cheating. Fire burnt desires while looking in sweet other's eyes.
People and entertaining. So I've been cooking since I was about 13.
Okay, I can't help. I have to get creative here, Laura. What meal would the character Deacon whip up to get
that guy needs to read my book big time, because Deacon definitely could benefit from being more of a gentleman.
That's a good one.
Or the next book,
he is to
Cooking
win
and
it as a player.
Entertaining,
Good one.
the modern bad boy. But have you ever done anything on the soaps where you're cooking and entertaining? Has that ever been used as part of your character?
No, I haven't. You know, I think who I am as a person is so different than who I play on TV.
Okay.
But I think definitely I would recommend that book for Deacon. He would benefit by it.
You're saying Deacon.
Yeah, Deacon is definitely not a gentleman. Although the guy has like an interesting. He has a weird code of honor. I mean, it's like he does a lot of things that are really bad, but in a weird way, he's got kind of like this strange code and bonkers for that. You know, I find that cooking is like, it's like a very unifying thing. It's like if you're in the kitchen cooking and you're feeding somebody, it's kind of like if somebody likes your kid, like invariably, you can't help but like them. If someone's feeding you, you can't help but develop some feelings for them. And for me, the book is about creating connection through feeding people.
Do you enjoy cooking? I mean, obviously you wrote a cookbook.
Oh, I love cooking.
What's your favorite dish to cook, or what's your most popular dish? Like, what do they demand at Thanksgiving? I must have this dish by you.
You know what I just made, which was like a huge hit? I just made saffron mashed potatoes with sauteed wild mushrooms and what kind of oil? A truffle oil. And like, that flew out the door. People